There's so many people today who want to change the world in some way, and what they do is they get into politics, and typically they will end up following some kind of YouTuber, streamer, whatever, and adopting all their worldviews. And where does this get them? Does this get them anywhere? No, because it's not a critical thinking process. I think so many people want to adopt these views so quickly, not because they're trying to change the world, really. I mean, maybe that was their initial intention, but they adopt these views so quickly and easily because it gives them a social foot in to the kind of cult that is modern political discourse. But what kind of ends up happening because of this is you have a lot of people with very shallow understandings of the world, of the ideas that they claim to care about. I mean, it's one thing to be able to say an idea and feel right about that, and you get this dopamine boost, and it's another thing to actually want to deconstruct the world and say, how can I actually make this thought digestible? How can I make other people appreciate it? How can I myself actually take this idea as far as I feel like it needs to go? And most people won't really ask themselves these questions. They will mostly just tend to repeat certain talking points, and it gets very tiring. It starts to feel like there's not really an actual living discourse. It's a dead discourse, because all the people who are engaging with it have already closed their minds to every possible outcome, and all they want to do is say the thing, and it doesn't go any deeper than that. And it's very frustrating, because if you actually care about these things and you're trying to interact with these people, then you're just gonna kind of feel like you're being buried under wave after wave of it's just like a mountain of words, and like none of these people are actually trying to build like some kind of mutual understanding. They're just trying to say the thing. And it really shows that they're only interested in this at a social, self-serving level, because they can't even doubt themselves. They can't like stop for a moment and be like, well, that's an interesting perspective that other person just said. Maybe I should consider in a different way. Maybe I need to change my outlook. No, you can't do that for even a second. I don't feel like it's even that hard to admit that sometimes the other side has a good point. Maybe you don't agree entirely. You still have policies you want or whatever. But a lot of what's happening here is actually cowardice. It's these people try to posture like they're so confident in their beliefs, but they're actually afraid to have the idea enter their mind for even a second that the other person might be right in some way. That's terrifying to them, because they've basically staked their whole persona, their whole social existence on being on this particular side. So when I said it was like there's political religions, I wasn't joking. These people are actually afraid of their own thoughts. They're afraid of anything that's going to deviate from the dogma they've been taught. And I think that if they are failing to believe in something, then they are sinning in a way. So as a result of this, politics, which is supposed to be this kind of noble pursuit of wanting to make the world a better place or whatever, it's become this game of manipulation, and it doesn't actually allow us to develop anything out of our ideas. People are always saying, you gotta get organized, you gotta call your local politician or whatever and all that. I don't think these are the big issues. I don't think those are the big issues at all, because I think if we actually developed a solid consensus, if we just completely agreed solidly, firmly on an issue and felt that it was a moral imperative that we had to change something, we'd probably be able to change that thing. But we can't do that. So the depressing reality is whether or not you think that most people are actually being manipulative when they talk about politics, is our enthusiasm is kind of eating itself, and we're only participating in these things with so much fervor because we actually feel powerless, and we want to paint over that with this kind of false confidence in our ideas. And I get so tired of talking to someone online about stuff, and the issue becomes no longer what we're talking about, but it becomes about them, or it becomes about me. Like, it's not supposed to be about battle of egos. It's supposed to be about principles. And this isn't just some pseudo-moralistic feel-good BS. Like, we can't fix anything this way. It's not possible. If it's always going to be made about your personal stance socially, if it's always going to be about the way you feel about the discussion. I don't need people to respect my feelings. I'm just some random person on the internet. But it would be nice for a person to actually take a step back from everything that they are supposed to be saying and just open their mind up a little bit and start to think about this in realistic terms. Start to think about it in terms of what you can communicate, what you can do, what actually matters. Because if we're just going to keep going down the same road, then it's just going to become less and less about what's actually being talked about, and more about feeding the egos of everyone involved in the discussion. And we're inconsequential is the thing. Like, we don't really matter to the greater scope of our ideological aspirations. And I know everyone thinks they've got the right answers. They're very confident about that. They think they're going to make the world a better place that way. But I'm just asking you to kind of stop and reflect on that, and improve upon your own self-understanding of that, so it can feel less like you're trying to improve the world for your own sake. This is very obvious to anyone who's more detached from the discourse, is that none of this is about making anything better. It's just power plays. It's just people who want to get their 15 minutes of fame. You're not fooling anybody. That's what I'm trying to say. Just you feel very locked into this, and you just want to keep mentally attacking it because it's basically all you know at this point. But really, it's just making you very unlikable, and you're slowly losing your humanity. And this is not a viable route to fixing anything. I kind of feel like, in a way, our brains are still adapting to all of the information that we've been exposed to on the internet. And this is kind of just like, it's like our brains are exploding right now, and we're just trying to concentrate it into something tangible. These people are going to get tired eventually, and they're not going to get tired so much of arguing as they're going to get tired of themselves. They're going to get tired of having no personality other than internet points, temporary fame, because it's really not fulfilling, and we crave fulfillment. And if we're going to actually fill that void in our lives, then we're going to have to start thinking wouldn't it be nice to actually expand my mind? Wouldn't it be nice to have an actual connection with the human beings I'm interacting with on the internet? And it's very true that in the absence of any meaning, people will actually choose pain over nothingness. They will intentionally expose themselves to unpleasant conversations, and they will push boundaries beyond where they should be pushed, just so that they can feel something out of it. And zooming out a little bit here, just think about what it would feel like if I got on this camera one day and I just started unloading all my opinions, all my beliefs, everything that I think is true, and that was like the content of the video, is just my opinions and they're right because of this, blah blah blah. I think that would seem pretty useless. And obviously I have a lot of opinions that I care very deeply about and I think are important to the world and all that, but what does it really mean? I'm just a YouTuber on the internet. I do not have the power to make my beliefs concrete in the world. I do not have any kind of authority in any regard except the kind that is given to me by people who respect my opinion and listen to me. That's it. I think it's way more valuable than my own personal political opinions that I can maybe help people to think about this in a new light and to kind of help ground people so that the current discussions can follow, you know, a more logical pathway. They can be more productive and there can be less, you know, hatred on both sides. And the hatred, it's not helping anything. It's just human nature. It's what we do. And it's I think it's depressing. I think it's sad that we're just doing this because of our own self-obsession. And I hope that one day we're actually able to articulate and organize ourselves better. But until then, you can just feel good about the fact that the person you watch is right about everything. You can also feel at peace with the fact that mercilessly imposing your opinions on other people has never led to fascism, and that cannot happen. And if you get enough likes on Twitter, you will in fact attain enlightenment and go to heaven. All of this is true. Bless you.